What's up guys? Hello and welcome back to Bite Size Security. My name is Jimmy and today we are covering Broca, which is a Linux box by Hack2Box, and it's an easy one. And I think there's one more easy one left on the Linux side and then two more on the Windows, and we're going to go through these a bit quicker, maybe 2 videos a week, or we'll see how it goes. And the videos will also be shorter because the easier boxes are shorter to go through, and then after that hopefully I'll be able to take a look at all these proving grounds boxes, but each thing in its time. So let's get straight into Broca. So as usual, I've got the terminal open, I've got the VPN already connected, and I've got Obsidian open. So what I'm going to do is do prep notes. By the way, I've uploaded the function that I use to set up all the folders really quickly to my GitHub. I've uploaded it to my GitHub, so I will post a link to that in the description if you want to use a function like that as well. So let's get on with Broca. Prep node Broca, and that will then create the nodes here ready to enumerate everything. So of course this script will assume that you have the same kind of setup as me, in the sense that you have a template somewhere stored locally, and then you copy that, and then it will also assume that your folders you set up like I do here. But someone asked me to upload it or to send him the way I do this, and so I thought, why not? But again, it really takes your own customization. With that being said, let's get into it. Broca enum and then external, and then what we're going to do is recon, and we're going to take the IP and paste it here like this, and then I'm going to scan that like that. Then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to open the root of this folder. There you go. This I can close. Oh, I just closed the terminal, of course. So what can I do? I can do tmux attach, and it will still be there. So now I've shown you the use case of tmux and why it's so amazing. But with that being said, let's go into the results. Scan is finished, so let's clean that up and call it Rust scan. Why is it so slow? Let's paste that here. Let's remove initial. And let's look at that. So we've got a couple of ports. We've got port 80, and then we've got AMQP, Patrol, SNMP, and 3 other uncommon ports. Okay, let's go back into the nodes and look at the results. Quick TCP is already done, so let's paste that here as well and look at the open ports that we have. So here it only detected SSH and port 80, it seems. Okay, so let's already start enumerating those. Let's create a few nodes. So SSH, go like this. And what can we do as well? Let's go into enum and run SSH audit. Here. Let's not do that here, but let's go into Broca, enum, external, there, and then do that again, like so. Then let's clean audit and call it SSH audit.txt and remove audit. And then we can paste that as well. I actually just jumped ahead. I normally don't do it like this. So let's go back into the way I usually do this. So let's go to port 80 here and just paste the nmap. Like so. And then, yeah, okay, we've already done SSH, so let's collapse this and do curl micto screenshot what web and gobuster/ff. There you go. And then curl gobuster nothing nicto here. Let's not look at that now. Screenshots, we'll take that ourselves. And what web. Go browse this web server. We've got a login panel. By the way, I've got a new screenshot software. It's called Flameshot. I'll link it in the description. And I am very happy with it because it really does not care how big the screenshot is. And it doesn't bug on me anymore. So we've got a login panel. Standard, I always try admin. And that worked. Okay, let's take another screenshot of this. And then what else do we have? Okay, the full TCP is still running. What else do we have? Active MQ realm. So active MQ is what we're dealing with. Oh, here it said that the password admin ID admin password admin is the default credentials and that it worked. So okay, so let's look at what active MQ is, right? Let's Google it. So what I can do is active MQ and then just, yeah, go to Google. Alle ablehnen. Active MQ is the most commonly deployed as a standalone process. This ist ein freier Message Broker, der vollständig das Java Message Service. Okay, so the most popular open source multi-protocol Java-based message broker. It supports industry standard protocols, so users get the benefits of client choices across a broad range of language and platforms. Yes, but what is it? Multi-protocol messaging. Okay. Okay, so let's just write that down really quick. Where should I? So, multi-protocol message broker. Is that what it said? Yeah. Let's look for some type of exploit. And we find something right away. Let's go on this one. I mean, I'm not surprised that some of these would work because this is an easy box, so we might get a very easy way through this. So we've opened these. What do we have? I know this is a bit script kiddie like. We take a script online and we just exploit it, but they're easy boxes for a reason. They're just meant to teach you how to find an exploit, adapt it to your use case, and exploit the machine. This is just a GitHub page with, okay, it's got a POC, but I can see here's a blog. So let's go with the blog. So CVE 2023 46604. RCE flow within Apache ActiveMQ. That's our case. The attack involves manipulating serialized class types in OpenWire protocol. Okay. Okay, let's just put this into our notes and try this out. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, so here's the POC. Okay, let's download this. We want the English version, of course. Refer to the official. Seems simple enough. So we give it the target, we give it of course the port, and then the XML URL, and that will look like this. Oh, okay, so I'm guessing we've got a POC XML here. Okay, so let's try. Let's just try this. Like this, git clone. Exploits, git clone, and then that. Yeah, I really prefer the harder boxes because they're not just copying a exploit from the internet and then running it against a target, but it is what it is. So where are we? We are here in exploits, right? Okay, so this is what the blog post tells me to change here. So we're gonna give it a reverse shell. So let's go to ref shells. Take my IP 1337 because we're leads as usual. Give it a bash. Copy that. Go bin. No, sorry. Bash -c. Like this? Was that how it said? Oh, and then encode these. Okay, so I'm not very good with the encoding. So what's the encoding like? So that's ampersand GT ampersand amp, like that. And then here 0 like this. That should work. Okay. And then we should host server here. So host it on 8000. Then here we're going to run it. And here we're going to listen. Is that how it works? Looks like it. Okay, so go run main the go I, and then the target is this. Then -u, that's our host. So http // RIP at ports 8000 is where I'm hosting it. And then poc.xml because I didn't change the name. So here, and then this is what it should execute. So essentially it's gonna run this, exploit on the targets, go back to our host that where we're launching a server, read POC XML, and then execute it, and we get a reverse shell. But what actually is happening, I will have to read. So, but this should work. Yeah, I don't really understand these serialization attacks. This is a future area of research for myself. Let's just go the script kiddie route and execute. And that worked. Okay, so we've got an initial foothold. That was easy. Let's take a screenshot. The blog post worked exactly as shown, and we have gained an initial foothold. So the recon hasn't even completely finished. We haven't even gotten all of the ports yet. And we've already gotten a foothold. Because on SSH, we saw a couple of other ports. So AutoRecon hasn't even found them yet. But we've already got an initial foothold. Not the best box, but we'll see. Let's keep it up. So we are now internal. So let's go to internal and say initial footholds. There you go. What do we always do? We do Python 3-c imports pty.spawn, and then bin bash like so, and then we close that and close that. Is that correct? Let's do that again, like this. There we go. So what did I do wrong before? Oh, there was no space. There's a space between the first PTY and the second PTY. Okay. So now we do Control Z. Okay, this is also not good. Listen, and then we execute here again, and then we do this, and we do bin bash like that. Then we go back and we say stty echo raw-echo. I'm not very concentrated today. I don't know what's up, but it'll be okay. And then we do export term equal xterm dash 256 color bash. And we've got a better shell. Harder than we would have wanted, but it worked. So now that we have a foothold, we have a foothold and we have a better shell. So let's go back to the normal directory and list. We've got the user text, perfect. So let's take that, put it into loot, like so. And then what else do we have? Let's go to opt. We have the protocol that we saw on the website. I guess it's being hosted here. Let's ignore that for now. Let's go to the root. Let's go to var HTML. So that's just a static page. That's not interesting. Let's do sudo -l. Oh, okay. We can run Nginx as root. That is very interesting. Okay, so this will be our path to exploitation for sure. Sudo -l prints the following. Okay, so how can we exploit Nginx? Nginx is a web server. Let's go here. We can close this. We can close this. Let's Google Nginx Privesk. Nginx root Privesk. Let's do, because we can run it as root. Let's open Hacktricks for sure. Let's open this. This doesn't look like I'm gonna understand what it says. Zimbra Nginx local root exploit, and let's open that one. So when configuring the Nginx server, okay, plays a critical role in this configuration. Yes, let's look at that. So sudo user sbin Nginx. Okay, let's do -help. That's what we should do. Copy and put this into the notes. And what can we do? Okay, test configuration and exits. Set configuration file. What configuration file does it normally load? Let's look at that. Okay, so what can we do here? Let's do that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download this configuration file that's already on the box, and I'm gonna look at it in my host. So I'm gonna do Python 3 -m http server, and then I'm going to do directory, and that's in user, no, etc Nginx, like so. And then I'm going to wget http the IP on port 8000, and I'm going to download the nginx config like that. And what directory am I in? Workbox. Nginx. Send that to broker. enum. No. Privesk. And let's go to broker. Privesk. Okay. So this is the default config that we have here. Let's take away all the comments. This might be important. This take away. Okay, so what did it say here in Hatrix? We can, I've done this before. I know how to, yeah, so we can, here we can delete everything. And I believe here I can now, like we can see here, write server. And then what else should I say? How does this work? Location. Given that we can run it as roots, should I write this? Let me look at my notes. Yes, I've done this before. So I can say listen on whatever ports. So let's do port 1234. And then the directory, like it says there, here, but I'm not going to say etc nginx. I'm going to say root and then whatever folder, like this. And then I'm also going to auto index on. What does that mean? Nginx conf auto index. Processes requests ending with the / character and produces a directory listing. Usually a request is passed to the Nginx auto index module. Enables or disables. Oh, okay. So this is needed. Yeah, let's just add that auto index. And then what else should I add? Nothing for now. Okay. So this is nginx.config. Let's modify the name and call it privesk.conf. And then host that on port 1234. Go, of course. I can run the exploit again. And then I can do Python 3. That's the one. And then I can do stty like that, and then what was it, 256, there you go, and then bash. Let's go. So we're back in there. Good shell. And then what can I do? Let's go into the temp folder. And then we can download the privesk.conf from our hosted server. Like this, and then ports 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to download privesk.conf like this. And then we can do sudo. What was it? Sudo user. I haven't taken any notes, by the way. I need to get back and explain everything I'm doing here. Nginx, what was it? -h, and then, oh, -c. -c, temp, and then we will have privesk.conf. Now, did that work? Okay, and since we're now hosting an Nginx server on, what port did we say? 1234. That will be localhost. So let's try and curl that. Curl HTTP localhost at port 1234. And let's do etc password like this. That worked. Okay, amazing. So we could also, to prove that we are root, say forbidden. Are we root? User www. Oh, we're not root. Should I say root here? Root, like this. Okay, let's try that again. Remove privesk.conf and then download it again. Like that. And then okay, so that is now running as root on port 1234. So that port is now being used. Okay, so I have to edit. Okay, so I have to edit it again. So let me remove privesk again and get ready to download it again. But here I'm going to change the port to 1235. And it is now root, so let's run it correctly. Save. Download it. Run it. Okay. Cool. So if I can now run it, then I will know that this is root, because shadow, etc shadow is a file that you can normally not run if you're an unprivileged user. Why did that not work? Oh, of course. Yes. So we have root permissions. We have root permissions through this server, so we can run root. I could now probably say root and then root.txt, and then the box would be over. But I want to be able to get a shell. How can I do that? Okay, let's take some notes first. So, privesk. Okay. Footholds. Here, copy it, and then there. Okay, we can exploit this, the fact that we can run Nginx as root by loading our own configuration file and hosting a localhost server that lets us that listens as the user root on ports 1, 2, 3, 5. However, can we add files? How do you add through curl? Is it put or post? I think it's put. X put like this, and then let's try test.text. Not allowed. Okay, so nginx conf put allow puts. To add HTTP and web dev methods like put, delete, mcall, copy, and move, you need to compile nginx HTTP dev module. Check nginx, blah blah blah. Then change your nginx config like that. Dev methods put. Okay, so I need to add this to here. Save that again. Oh, let's not make that mistake again. Let's now do 1, 2, 3, 6. Save that. Let's delete privesc.conf. Yes, that is correct. wget like so. And then we can do sudo user sbin nginx -c temp and then privesc.conf. That is running. Curl put http localhost 1, 2, 3, 6 we said, and then let's try and root test.text, and then what is it? Here I can close this. curl.h data. Okay, so let's input some data and go hello world. If this works, let's not, so I'll take that away, and it says hello world. That worked. Okay, so I can put files onto that server. So now what can I do? What did we do in the last box? When was it? I think it was forest. We tried, let me collapse this. Okay, let's take some notes. We can put files onto the nginx server by using curl x put. However, we have to allow it first by editing our nginx conf file, which I haven't even posted here yet, as follows. Dev methods puts. Okay. So what can we now do? We can try and get an SSH shell by, since we can input files into the root, we can edit the SSH folder maybe. So let's go here and do .ssh, because we know that SSH is open, and so we can do authorized, let's put this in full screen like this, authorized keys, and then here on our main host we can do SSH keygen, enter file, override, yes, passphrase like that, and then I can cat SSH and then ID RSA pub, this, yes, and then I can copy this, authorized keys, this should work, and add this to the authorized keys. See, once you've done privilege escalation a few times, the same things come back over and over. As soon as you have root right, you can just exploit that over SSH, and this happens a lot in a lot of boxes. So let me try this. Did that work? Let's go to roots, SSH, and then authorized keys. That worked. So now I should be able to connect. SSH, roots, and what is the IP? Am I blind? There. Yes. We got it. ID. Who am I? If config. We are root. We have successfully rooted Broker. That was rather quick and pretty easy, I must say. I would say that the hard part was editing the Nginx config. If you hadn't known how to edit this part, then it would have been a bit more difficult. But given that I've already dabbled with Nginx configuration files, this is okay. That is why it's important to always keep notes and recollect what you've done in the past. Yeah, so this is great. Anyway, so this has been Broker. What did we do? We found a web server running ActiveMQ, a multi-protocol messaging service, I guess. And there was a known exploit for it. Exploited that. Script kiddie style. Got initial foothold. Saw that we can run Nginx as root. And then loaded our own configuration file. That let us add files as root to the directory. And then we added an authorized key, which was our SSH public key, and logged in. And we are now root. This has been Jimmy. I hope you enjoyed. Short one. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Please like, subscribe, share, comment down below, put the notification bell on. Helps a lot. Yeah, same things that everyone always says. But yeah, it does help. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.